Welcome to Healthy, Happy, Wise, Wealthy, the podcast where we talk about everything about healthy, happy, wise, wealthy living from cradle to grave. I'm your host, Mary Meyer. Hi, welcome back to Healthy, Happy, Wise, Wealthy. I am Mary Meyer, your host, and I am excited for today because I've been wanting since I started this to talk about some physical things we can do in terms of detox. And today we're going to talk some detox and talk about other things, vitality, taking care of yourself, and Kara and Brittany and their collaboration and some things that they are working together on. So I know, Kara, we've had you on. I'm going to have you introduce yourself second then. So Brittany, can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. My name is Brittany Heyden, and I am a functional medicine nurse practitioner and coach. I live in Nebraska and have known Kara for a very long time, since we were 5 to be exact. And yeah, I'm super excited for what we are going to discuss today and exploring our collaboration and just ways that we can improve people's health and vitality. And like, we want them to thrive in life. So
Right.
I'm super excited to dive into that conversation today.
Woohoo. Kara.
Naturally, she is, because in fact, she is known as the Vitality Queen. Okay. She's earned the badge. Yeah. So Brittany and I have literally been best friends since kindergarten. So and I've known Mary for over a decade. So,
Wow.
You know, when you get to hang out with your friends, it's going to be a fun time. So we're going to talk about detox and pathways and all this like super cool brainy stuff, because we're all super cool and brainy, but also we're going to have fun talking about those things. So I have my background. When I first met Mary, I was doing more of functional healing and using herbs and homeopathy and essential oils and, you know, using biofeedback to look at the balances and imbalances in the body. So my background, and then finding remedies for creating balance and looking at the underlying causes, having that as a background, but always my draw was, what are the emotions tied into those physical things? And after some life changes in my own personal life, I ended up shifting more into that aspect of the personal life. And I believe that's part of our health journey.
Mm-hmm.
But my people call me spiritual mentor, life coach. I'm an author. I have a podcast also. And Brittany and I have been working on a beautiful collaboration that we are so excited to talk about today.
Well, since you said it, why don't we just talk about that? Tell me about the collaboration you two are doing.
Yeah. So I primarily work with women, not exclusively, but I primarily work with women. And my backstory on why I do what I do, my health failed like Kara, and it just kind of leads you into it leads you down a path that you did not even know existed. And mine started with there was many layers, but probably one of the most prominent layers, I started having heart arrhythmias, and there was no answer. You took every test possible. I was on medications. The medications were not stopping the arrhythmias, and I was gray, could barely function, and I knew I was dying. I've been a nurse for over 20 years. And so I was very well aware of the traditional medical system, and I was doing everything in that system, and it was failing me. And I happened to be going to another cardiologist to come up with another plan, thinking I'd have to have ablation done. And I finally told Kara what was going on. And she was in the middle of, or towards the end of, battling Lyme disease. And she happened to mention, parasites do weird things to people sometimes. And I was like, parasites? First off, we made fun of people with parasites because, in traditional medicine, that's just laughable. And yet I was at a place that I was so desperate for help. I came home from the cardiologist, did not tell him I was going to do something totally crazy, ordered some random parasite cleanse that came in a Ziploc baggie from a mom and pop shop. I didn't even know what was in them. And lo and behold, after like a week or two, the arrhythmias started to stop. By 30 days, they were hardly present at all. And by 60 days, they were completely gone.
Wow.
And that was like a moment of like, oh my gosh, time out. We've got to rethink everything that you have learned. And so that really sent me down the path of root cause medicine. And I went back to school and became a nurse practitioner. And then I dove into everything holistic and functional medicine. So knowing that that was the path that I was going down, and I start working with these women, and I still have a lot of my own baggage. I am in the middle of healing. Things are getting better, but the emotional piece, which I've always been the person that's worked on becoming a better version of myself. But that part of healing really became apparent. And with my clients, I noticed that I could give them so much information, and then, you get to a point like a standstill, and you bring up the emotional side, but they really need someone to guide them through that. Like, I can guide them physically and I can give them tools, but emotional healing is it's not my line of genius, even though I have done a lot of emotional healing myself and can, I can kind of tell you what to do, but it's really Kara's gift.
Yeah.
And so I just realized that we need both aspects if we are going to really make a difference in people's lives and health. They need the physical and they need the emotional components in order to really heal and thrive.
For sure.
I think one of the things that's really fun about us working together is, like, I like to like think about the picture of a Venn diagram, and a lot of times, like on a team, you'll have just a little bit of an overlap, but mostly you're doing, your thing. And I think one of the things about Brittany and I is we have this massive overlap of knowledge and understanding in what one another really brings as their great strength, both through our own personal journey and through our work with people. And we have these superpowers on the outliners that, we each possess, but the overlap of understanding to support someone. And like, even for me, there's no one I'd rather work with. Even Mary, when you asked me, because that I know a lot about detox, and I'm very passionate about people being healthy and helping people be in tune to their bodies and live in alignment to that attunement, because that's how we be happy and healthy. Right. We have to be healthy to live the lives we want to live. And, it's like when you were talking about it, I'm like, I totally could talk about this all day, but let's bring my friend Brittany on, because it will be way more fun. And that's really her expertise. Like, even though I have a lot of knowledge and a lot to contribute to the conversation, but it is interesting, like in my own personal journey, I was coming out of an abusive marriage that I had been in for 10 years. And I was just so puny. I was so sick. And at one point I thought, okay, once things are shifted and I'm out, I'm going to start feeling better. Well, that did not happen. And, so I'm doing all this emotional work, and I'm realizing, I think this has taken a physical toll on my body. So the weaving together of these two things, and this is going to keep coming up all night as we're talking about detoxing, because the reality that your emotional health is part of what causes dis-ease and dysfunction in your body.
Right.
And then your healing path, like if you're working on the emotion only, there's a time when you have a physical body. So if that emotion has taken hold as a symptom, there will be physical work that's needed.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, when I realized like I am physically, like there's something really wrong with me, and then I was diagnosed with Lyme, but it was truly through my Lyme disease journey of healing myself that I deeply learned how connected emotional energy that we hold in our body contributes to our health or our illness, sickness, dysfunction, whatever. And I do want to clarify, just because this is always important, we are 3 people having a conversation about health. We are not giving health advice.
Yes.
That's always so important to acknowledge. Just
For sure. And you can't even no matter what if you're going to diagnose someone, it has to be a one-on-one kind of thing where you're doing all the testing and that kind of thing. And maybe then you don't even use the word diagnose, because I
try not to, because I don't like to have people associate themselves with a diagnosis. Yeah. I don't like the term at all.
Yeah. I love that.
I understand that. And Brittany, just to kind of like, I went through something that was similar. Maybe, I don't know if how similar it was to Kara, but I had my health failed when I was 23. Mm-hmm. So, and I was just sleeping all the time. I couldn't really wake up. I felt like I had film in front of my eyes, brain fog. Like, you don't even know how bad off it is. And I went to the doctor, and they are like, get away. Like, they're so dismissive. They do not want anything to do with me. And so I just, you work out a little bit, you go to the chiropractor, you try to eat some more fruit and vegetables. And it was such a long time, took some supplements, and it was such a long time until I went to Kara. And at that point, I was so acclimated to hiding it that I didn't even think I didn't even know anything about it. And I think it took her all of 5 minutes to go, well, you have Lyme's disease. So let's detox. And it was a detox, let's detox that. And then we worked on detoxing that for a long, very, 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 very long time.
Yeah. I think it's
a thing. Yeah.
I think it's interesting, the comment that you made, because I think we probably can all relate to this, is we are so used to pushing through that we don't realize how sick we are in the thick of it until you are better. And then you can have a moment and it's like, oh my, I was really, really sick. Mm-hmm. And like people around you don't even grasp how sick you are, because you are so used to covering it up.
Yeah. Especially as women, like we know we have to show up and perform in certain ways. And like that threshold of when we will even recognize is so high. And we're like, well, I got to do it anyway. Well, at some point there aren't any anyways left. And we've borrowed so much of the energy from tomorrow that we've run out of tomorrows to borrow from. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Wow. That's profound. Yeah. That's profound. And I've had a lot of brain fog in the middle of all this, and it does make me think, you really don't know that you're not doing well when your brain is foggy and you don't have any much mental clarity. Yeah. That's a hard one, but yeah. So the main question of the night, let's, someone comes to you, I know, and we're going to get back to you guys talking more about your collaboration. I know we went into your backstory. We'll keep coming back to it. It'll keep coming up in conversation. But if someone comes to you and says, I don't feel good, I feel like I've heard of detox, and I think maybe you could help me with detox. What should I do?
I always ask the question, why? I want to know why you're feeling that way. And I think there's lots of buzz on social media about this detox or that detox, or, I've recently got a lot of requests for ivermectin, let's parasite cleanse. But they don't even know what they're talking, they don't even know what they're talking about. And granted, I didn't know what I was talking about or doing either, but there's a reason behind the symptoms that you're having. If it's brain fog or fatigue or, joint pain or inflammation or, there's dozens and dozens of symptoms that you can be having and thinking that you need to detox from. But just going and buying a detox probably isn't the best way to go about it. There can be a strategic way, because just blindsided going in and doing something, whether it's a parasite cleanse or a liver detox, can backfire on you in a really big way. So, and feel free to chime in whenever you want, Kara.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, because first of all, you can have any or all of those symptoms. And if you just take one of those symptoms, there could be 17 reasons why, and it's probably more like 77 reasons why you're having that symptom.
Yes.
So we've been taught in our culture to think about symptoms as something to resolve with medicine. Like have a headache. I take
want a quick fix. Yep.
We want to just but we're fixing the symptom. Whereas the kind of conversation we're having is like, what's causing the headache? Which headaches are probably the most vague. It's like, oh gosh, there's so many different headaches and they're so elusive. But what's causing that symptom? And then for your body, what would support you to overcome whatever's causing that? And then as you work on that root cause, eventually that symptom changes or dissipates or gets better or goes away entirely. Symptoms you've lived with for years and years, and you just thought, oh, it was just getting older or whatever. But that's part of why this blind, big picture detox is just it's a really big word.
Yeah.
Right.
And go ahead, Brittany.
Oh, there's, I wish I had this printed off, but one of the courses that I've taken, they take symptoms. So like our major cancer and like life altering diseases. And, that's at the bottom of the pyramid here. And then they start stacking like, okay, well, what happened on top? Like what happened before you get to a cancer diagnosis? Well, you have, this disease and this disease. And we start just adding to the pile and ask the question like, okay, well, why do you have high blood pressure or diabetes or hypothyroidism? Well, the next step is we have environmental toxins, and we're deficient in vitamins and minerals, and the list goes on and on. Emotional triggers, work stress. So we just keep building and building and building. And at the top, once you add everything in there, and there is a lot. I mean, if you looked at it, it is completely full of random things that we are exposed to every day that we're thinking we're, part of our daily lives. And at the top, it kind of boils down to 3 points: crap, food, toxins, and stress.
Crap, food, toxins, and stress.
Yeah. I mean, there's like a lot can go in that, but
right.
And let me step into that for a minute, because years ago, I started thinking about how, doctors, people in general are always saying you need to have less stress in your life. And anybody who's living modern life, like working, momming, whatever you're doing, being in relationship, dating, whatever you're doing, it's like, you want to give me some ideas on how to reduce stress in my life while still living it?
Right.
And that's when I got really interested in nervous system regulation and practicing myself and understanding how to regulate my own nervous system, but also how to guide my clients to practice and achieve, because rest alone will not restore you. You have to give your nervous system inputs that it's safe and it's calm, and you have to do that over time, and it becomes such a regular practice. That's part of owning your life, getting in control of your health is this management of the reality of stress. We cannot cut out all stress
The
from
stress
our
is
life.
inevitable, and a little bit of stress is good. I mean, it makes us
Mhm.
resilient, so
Yeah.
it's not bad. But I mean, we're in such a hustle culture that we think like our downtime. Oh, like most people don't even understand what the nervous system is doing. They don't realize that
Mhm.
they're living in fight or flight all the time.
Mhm.
And them watching TV at the end of the day is their idea of de-stressing, or scrolling on their phone is their idea of de-stressing, or taking a hot bath, scrolling on their phone is de-stressing. Yet the nervous system is still, it doesn't know how to function. It does not know how to
Mhm.
get into rest and digest.
Mhm. Or false. I was talking to a client about this today, the false piece
Yeah.
of a glass of wine, a cigarette,
Yeah.
whatever other ways
Whatever
in which,
fix. Yep. You're
yeah,
using.
so
Yep.
you might feel calm, but it's false peace. It's not actual nervous system rest.
Mhm.
And I love reminding people, because we talk about dysregulated nervous system, dysregulated emotions, but the opposite isn't it. Like, you can say the opposite is regulated, but what does that mean? What does that tangibly mean? And that's such a broad term. And what does that mean to me? What does that look like? And I like telling people the opposite is actually expression.
Mhm.
So if we're talking about emotion, when you have dysregulated emotion, it's because you're not expressing, or you're not in safety to express. When we're talking about the nervous system, it needs the opportunity to unwind and express, to have inputs and outputs, and an exchange within you that allows you to actually express what's going on in your life, discharge. Just the tiniest example is the way most mammals, once they get through a flight situation, chased by whatever in the woods, parasympathetically, meaning involuntarily, they will shake, 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 shake. They're not doing it. Their bodies are doing it until they discharge the fear, and then they move on.
Hmm.
Well, we have that situation where it's like, whatever, someone cut us off and this, that, whatever. Or we have heart racing, fight or flight kind of situations, and we don't discharge that energy. So there are so many beautiful ways in which you can learn every day and throughout the day, hour by hour, to discharge this energy as it's happening. A healthy nervous system should be like a little sine wave between, sympathetic stress, which is fight or flight, and then
Right.
calm,
Hmm.
regulated, in social ventral vagal, where I'm just being social, I'm feeling joy, I'm open, my heart is open. And, we spend so much time here, or up into functional freeze,
Yeah.
Right.
that, we forget how to even get down here. And part of functional freeze can feel much like depression. So I think a lot of times people can identify the symptom of depression, they are sometimes just stuck in functional
Yeah.
freeze. So
Interesting. Yeah.
I think learning this isn't exactly detox, but it is part of day to day. You need to be discharging. So it's kind of like a nervous system detox, really. It's like you're recognizing what you are honestly up against in a given day and what it does to your system. And we as women, we are cyclical, not on a 24-hour basis. Like, we don't have full energy every day when we wake up in the morning.
Right.
We run on a cyclical pattern, and we have different energy every day. So we have different bandwidth to deal with things. We have different energy, literally, in our physical bodies. And, I think even being able to consider, how can I support my nervous system to get through this day, and actually honor how
Right.
I'm made as I'm going through the day.
Yeah, there's just so many toxins, both emotional and physical,
Mhm.
that I feel like have just been dumped on us. And every decade, it's like, oh, it'll get better. People will start recognizing it, but I don't feel like they do. I
I
as
think
much as
a
maybe it's
very
my fault, I
small
don't think they
percentage of
do.
people are even aware of it.
Mhm.
No.
That's all that I consume. So I think, oh, everybody knows about this. Why do I need to say this again? But like in
Mhm.
reality, that's not true. Most people are completely oblivious. And so from my standpoint, I mean, you have to start somewhere when the person comes and they're like, I am exhausted. I just want to do this detox. What do you think about this? I
Right.
mean, there's so much information you can learn from a simple set of labs and a history on the person.
Okay.
There's just a wealth of knowledge in those two things. You can you can take basic labs, look at them from an optimal window, and I can pinpoint like, okay, well, your body's fighting this infection and your methylation, which is part of detoxification,
Mhm.
is probably not optimal. You know, do we need some omegas? Are we like blood sugars? I mean, those are always a big one. Um, Underlying infections, those are just a few things that you can easily spot looking at lab work. So then,
Brittany, let me ask you, insert a question there. Do you take your own labs, or do you just take labs that they've taken from a medical doctor to look at?
I do both. I like to look at more than what your traditional practitioner is going to order,
Right.
but you can take a basic metabolic panel and a blood count, and you can start with that because that does give you enough information to at least go on in the beginning. Um, from there, I mean, I like functional labs too. I like digging deeper if we need to, but our basic labs with a few extras, that can tell us a lot. I mean, you can create a very robust detox program for 90 days or 4 months. Um, but if you want to dive deeper, you can go deeper than that. But like I said, on the flip side, just listening to their history, listening to what their life is like,
Mhm.
not only um, that emotional component, which is huge,
Mhm.
but their lifestyle. Where are they living? I live in cattle country and ranch. I have farmland all around me. And are they spraying crops, or are they organic? What
Mhm.
type of home do they live in? Where is their job? What chemicals are they exposed to? The other day I spoke to a gentleman. He'd grown up right by an airport. And so the constant exposures and the noise, and I'm like, oh my gosh, something I would never even think of because I live in the middle of nowhere. And yet that was something that was very prominent in his life. Um, yeah. So take a little bit of that information,
Mhm.
and then you start asking, you know, what do you do to support your detox pathways?
Mhm.
I mean, they don't know what they're doing. I'm wanting to know, are you having daily bowel movements to begin with? Are you voiding, and are you pooping? you know,
Right.
Two simple places to start. Most people, well, a good percentage of people are struggling with elimination in some way, shape, or form.
Interesting.
Um,
Well, and you just said, sorry to stop you, but you just said detox pathways, which I know Kara had mentioned that a little bit earlier.
mhm.
And I think in general, this is also, even it's so basic, but it's
Yeah.
also a thing we don't think about.
Yeah.
And I even know about it. I don't think about it as much as I need to. So can we
Yeah.
just talk about detox pathways? What does
Yeah.
that mean?
I mean, we need a way to excrete the toxins.
Mhm.
So elimination, bowel function, bladder function. The skin is a giant detox organ.
Mhm.
Are you sweating? I mean, I
Mhm.
spent most of my years never sweating a drop, and no one asked a question.
Same, same.
From the time I was a child, did not sweat. Um, So that's like a big red flag, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my world now. The lymphatic system, it's very, very little discussion on that. Those are a couple of the main detox pathways.
Respiratory is the other one that comes to my mind. What your lungs, what you're breathing in, and what your lungs are able to excrete also.
Yeah. So if one of those is not functioning properly, like I said, your body is recirculating and recycling all of those toxins. So over time, it's just this compounding effect. I mean, take your bowels, for instance, and women not having daily bowel movements. Then we have estrogen issues. We have estrogen dominance, because removing estrogen it's imperative to have daily bowel movements in order to clear that estrogen. So we have a buildup of estrogen. It ends up recycling in our system. Our body's still producing more estrogen. You end up with estrogen dominant symptoms. Like I think about all the women in perimenopause and menopause, or even if you are younger than that and having heavy periods, terrible PMS, then later, hot flashes. I mean, that can be an imbalance of hormones. Fibroids, ovarian cysts, breast tenderness. Yeah. I mean, all of those things are red flags that we're probably not clearing our estrogen like we should.
So you're saying you clear estrogen by going number 2?
Yeah.
Is one of the main ways.
Your liver's very involved.
Your liver is very involved.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, but that's the exit. There's 3 phases of detoxification, and elimination is the third.
Right. So going back to your original question, Mary, which was if someone came and was like, I kind of want to do a detox, what do you think? One of the reasons that you can, there's all kinds of detox kits out there. You can do a little detox. If you're not pooping, you're just recirculating those toxins, and you are going to feel so bad. You're really going to feel terrible. Yeah. So it's really important first, like if going back to your original question, that a person, ultimately they would be working with someone who's helping guide them through this, because it's actually very complicated and individual. But if you are just like a person who's like, okay, well, I want to kind of do this on my own. Like, it's important that you understand your body and how it works, how like these different systems that Brittany's talking about, and how each one of them works to clear toxins. When you understand the biology of how your body works, which is unfortunately this very intuitive art that is lost. It's been lost in our culture.
Yeah.
And the more you understand your body and how it works, the healthier you can be. So the first layer would be understand your detox pathways and do some self-evaluation of, like Brittany was saying, do I sweat? If no, what could I do to help that pathway open?
Yeah.
And we can talk a little bit about each one of these. My breathing, is my breathing clear and open? And do I feel like, can I walk down the aisle with all the chemicals in the grocery store? I cannot. I can't. My lungs feel pretty clear, but I definitely struggle with that respiratory, like when there are chemicals in the air, I'm struggling.
Me too.
Lymphatic, am I puffy? Do I wake up with sleep lines? The lymph doesn't have a pump like your heart does. It's fluid that's moving throughout your body, carrying the things that need to exit, but it needs help pumping. So exercising, even just walking.
In our sedentary life, sitting in front of computers all day long.
Yeah.
What are we doing to help move our lymphatic system?
Yes. And there's so many little things, like let's just pop in some little things that, like with lymphatics, I'll sit every night and I'm just doing a little pump right here at this is where all your lymph comes to. It's just right here at your collarbone. And, you can do a little push and pop open, or I'll just sit there and it's the smallest pump. You're not pressing hard. You're not massaging anything.
Very gentle, very gentle.
It's the gentlest little like pulse.
And underneath of your armpits or your groin, those are also very prominent places.
Dry brushing really helpful, which
a vibration plate.
Rebounding. I have been rebounding for 2 decades now. When I was so sick, my adrenals were I struggled to get off the couch. And I love exercise. So that's never been like a thing for me where if my body's able, I'm working out. I love exercising. So this was during a time where I was just like, oh my gosh, like I can hardly get up and just move about. Like taking a walk was actually too much for my body. I got this rebounder, and a rebounder looks like a little mini trampoline, but it's, very high quality. It's so that it's not hard on your back. It's not like a $20 trampoline from Target. And I couldn't even jump. I just bounced. I stood on the trampoline and I just bounced, because that's getting at least some movement. And then I worked my way up to be able to jump. And so lymphatics, there's so many different things that drinking plenty of water is really important for all of
them. Yeah.
There's nothing water isn't important for. And, hydrating, making sure that you've got some electrolytes so that you're actually able to utilize the water.
Yeah.
Backing up to sweating, obviously doing some kind of exercise, but like I know Brittany's saying she grew up never sweating. When I got really sick with Lyme disease, I was not sweating. And I've always been a person who, like, when I'm working out, I'm sweating. And that's when I learned, like, oh, this is not normal and this is concerning. And so, some of those heat induced therapies, like a sauna or an infrared mat or something that allows you to break a sweat. I have a personal sauna and I use it almost every day. There are days that I don't, but that's a really, it's not cheap, but it's an affordable remedy. Mine is a Therasage. And
I think I got that same one. Yeah.
I probably told you about it. It's one of those that it doesn't, your head is out, but it's tiny. It'll fit in any space. It zips up and down. It doesn't take up huge amounts of space. And it was very affordable, and I've been using it since January of 2020. So we're at the end of 2025 and it still works like a charm. Like it's a good investment, and it's a way to get things, that's like, these are like easy tactics that you can do.
I want to go back and kind of recap, just because people are listening, probably driving, and they're like, what did they say again about lymphatic drainage? So I just kind of want to recap, make sure we went through all the different things. So lymphatic drainage, really, you guys tell me if I got this right. It moves all the toxins through the body so they can get eliminated, basically. And some different things you can do with that. Kara's going, maybe that's ish. Tell me if I'm wrong after this. Like the rebounder where you're mini trampoline bouncing will make it work. Exercise, movement, walking, vibration plate, drinking lots of water, electrolytes. And then you have the example of that
massage,
little lymphatic massage on your collarbone of your neck. You'd have to watch us on YouTube to see them do it.
They're everywhere.
Or everywhere.
Look it up on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. Or under your armpits or in your groin area are some of the lymphatic areas. And then dry brush, you said, which is another thing you could look up.
Good job, Mary.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
This test.
You know what? I actually have a really funny story, and I have to say it now because it's about lymphatic drainage, and it just happened. So before we get back into the serious, this is very serious stuff. It is very serious, but also fun. I bought a vibration plate, and first of all, you cannot say that word without people cracking jokes. But secondly, I've been using it.
I got one.
So I've been using it, and look it up if you guys don't know what it is, but it's basically like a, I don't even, what is it, about, a little bit bigger than your stance, and it's just going to move back and forth, back and forth. You feel so good after it. So I had my lights when I came home last week, my lights were out in my apartment, and I'm like, okay, this is just some part of it, not all of it. And so I flipped the breaker, and then one lamp started, on and off like a Halloween movie. And then another lamp started doing it. And then the kitchen lights did it. And then they stopped, and then they turned off, and then they turned on. And then and so then they just went out, and I'm like, it's nighttime. I'm going to sleep. The next day they came and to fix it, and they couldn't figure it out. They were looking in all the outlets, and they finally looked behind the breaker box, and there was some kind of prong in there. This has nothing to do with Detox. It's just only funny. And it was installed incorrectly. So it's supposed to be like an inch apart, but it's kind of together. And they're like, well, any kind of vibration, because it's installed incorrectly, is going to make this disconnect. So even walking around, and of course I started laughing my head off. I'm like that vibration plate, on the third floor, vibrating the whole, oh my gosh. Use your vibration plate. Go ahead and go get one. Drink your water.
Vibration plates are so good for like bone density.
Yes.
They're good for
what is it, like 15 minutes is equal to 30 minutes of walking.
And if you can do like a little static squat, or like hold your arms in a certain position, like the input to your muscle when you're using it on that vibration plate, it just is like, so it's so beneficial.
Yeah.
I feel better. It does help. I feel like it helps a lot.
And it's just too easy. And those are very inexpensive.
Yes.
Couple $100.
Yeah.
Like, it's too easy. You got no excuses on this one.
Well, and I think all the methods are kind of probably inexpensive, because like the lymphatic,
a lot of things you can do at home.
Yeah,
that's why I want to make sure we talk about those things.
We just briefly spoke about the liver, ways to detox your liver. Lemon water with, my go-to first thing in the morning is always Redmond's real salt and lemon water.
Say that one more time. I've missed part of it.
Redmond's real salt and lemon water. So
Redmond's real salt and lemon water. Okay.
Hot cup of water, and add some Redmond's and a slice of lemon, squeezed lemon.
And I gotta say, like, I can't do it hot. Like, my body I will not drink it. I just do room temperature water, and then I love it. It's delicious.
Yeah, it is. It's addicting. Castor oil packs. Those can be very beneficial for everything. But obviously you can use it on your liver, you can use it on your tummy, you can use it on your thyroid. You can use it all sorts of places to help.
Sprain an ankle, throw a little castor oil pack on there.
Yeah.
Draws out inflammation.
Can you guys explain what a castor oil pack is? Because I know what you're talking about, but I feel like most people probably don't.
So you want organic, cold pressed castor oil, high quality castor oil, and it's sticky. It's a little sticky, but you put a little on your hand and rub it over your liver. And then they have these packs. They're cotton. I did try to use or to make my own at one time. I don't recommend it. I would say just buy the pack, because it is such a mess trying to do your own. I'm not quite, that's just not my thing. So buy the pack, and you just place that on top of, if you're putting it on your liver, and wrap it around. I have used a little warm heat at times, especially like when I was going through breast implant illness and trying to detox from that. I would put the pack on and then use some warm heat and set for 20 or 30 minutes. So yeah, you can get them on Amazon. I always tell people to grab Queen of Thorns. I think that's the right name. You might have a different brand that you use, Kara, but
that's the same castor oil. Their castor oil packs are a lot more expensive. You can get organic cotton castor oil packs on Amazon for very inexpensive, and probably elsewhere. But you want it in glass.
In glass, yes.
Not want it in plastic, or it's
going to absorb whatever
absorbing what it's in. So glass and Queen of Thrones is what I do too. Organic, cold pressed. And it's just it's such a great
tool.
Great tool. It's so good.
Yeah.
So those are
And what it does is it draws things out. It's
Draws out
drawing
toxins.
out. It's
Yep.
drawing out the toxins, drawing out inflammation.
I also will recommend to people, sometimes people get tired of pills. So I will recommend like a liver detox tea, something with milk thistle, maybe a little bit of turmeric, some vitamin C, I think beetroot and dandelion root. Those are all supportive for the liver. So have a glass of, or if you like tea, have a glass of warm tea before bed, or if you don't like it warm, drink it cold. But that's an alternative to taking another type of supplement.
And even just bitter, any bitter greens your liver loves, like dandelions, for example, they're very bitter. The leaves of a dandelion, but any bitter greens, the liver is like, thank you, thank you, thank you. And that's one really easy thing you can do if you feel like your liver needs some love is, you can get bitters to take like 30 minutes before you eat, and it kind of wakes up the liver and kind of gets that cascade of digestion started because you're giving that input of, bitter coming in, we're going to be digesting. Another thing about, the liver is trying to go to bed by 10 p.m. and not eating for several hours before you go to bed. And the reason that's important is the liver performs like 700 jobs. And the way my Ayurveda teacher once explained this to me was, if you go to bed with food in your system that hasn't been digested, your liver has to take care of that first. So it's like a janitor for the digestive system. Like, I got to spend my time digesting that food. If your liver's spending its time, so when we're resting is when the liver's doing all these jobs for our body. And if it's spending its time digesting your food, then it's not getting all its other jobs done. So I like telling people that because, oh my gosh, so hard to get to bed early, so hard not to eat late at night. Like, I know. When you understand why, again, when you intuitively understand why your body needs that or why the experts recommend that, I think it makes it a little easier to buy in and get in alignment with that, to get committed to that.
I want to kind of circle back to talking about having bowel movements.
Before you do that, would you care if I recap for the?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Let's see if Mary was listening. This is my quiz that I give myself. So liver detox. So warm water in the morning with lemon and Redmond salt.
Yep.
Okay, is one, and then castor oil pack over your liver. And do you sleep with that overnight? Is that kind of a sleep overnight kind of thing? Okay, so castor oil pack with organic castor oil in glass, so it's not leaching from the plastic bottle. Bitters, greens, or you can just get a bottle like with bitters. Like people put in alcohol, and alcohol's bad for your liver, but you could just use the bitters and before you eat. You guys got to tell me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to recap everything. And then the last one, I might forget to tell me. Going to bed early.
And not eating
so that the liver can do its job at night and not have to overwork.
Yeah. Before we move on from here, though, because I could have said this sooner about other systems, but liver, it's like, I can't move on from that without mentioning, and you got to deal with the anger in your life.
There was a lot to learn with Kara and Brittany on the topics of detox and vitality. So this is split into 2 episodes. Make sure you catch both.